have known Accountability Lab for about 10 years, including the time that I have served at the organization. I happen to be in Washington, D.C. through an Atlas Score and Think Tank Links Fellowship Program, and our South Asia representative, Narayana Adhikari, he happened to be a fellow. So before going to the fellowship, I was closely engaged into the Social Accountability Lab work in Pakistan, and we had a chance to interact and discuss more about the work that both of us were doing. I really got excited about the model that Accountability Lab had in terms of engaging young people through creative and innovative work and discussing accountability in more of a layman's language. So we got excited. Narayan introduced me to Blair Glencourse, the executive director of Accountability Lab, and our discussions began around the need for founding an accountability lab in Pakistan. We eventually decided to have a lab here, and as soon I came back from the fellowship, we started working around it. The Accountability Lab initially worked as informally as an organization in Pakistan, but after a year or so, we decided to be formally registered as a local entity. Accountability Lab in Pakistan, we pretty much run all the programs which are being run by the accountability labs across the world. We run our Integrity Icon campaign. This is the 7th year we have conducted it. Nominations are already open for the 8th year. We run Accountability Incubator program. Our Government Innovation Lab we have been running it for past 4 years now, and we have got quite a bit of traction around it. I think all of the programs which other sister organizations, governance, civ action teams, all that work is being implemented here in Pakistan. The only activity which we haven't carried out in Pakistan is Voice to Rep. We are still thinking around the idea of using music for social activism and social change work in Pakistan. There aren't very successful precedents around using music for this work, so we are pretty careful at this stage. So accountability is essentially a political concept at the end of the day, and not everyone can relate very directly to it. In Pakistan's context, again, it's the connotation around the word is very, very political heavy and academic. The difference which Accountability Lab has made is that we have translated the term and the affiliated concepts into a layman's language. We have engaged a lot of youth around it, creative work. We have, encouraged and promoted filmmaking around it. Arts competitions have been organized, trainings with young people, discussions, inspire talks, all those activities have been carried out. The difference which we have been able to make is that we have been able to engage very closely the government departments, various government departments, bringing them onto the table and discussing how do they think about the concept of accountability? Who do they think they are accountable to? If they think that they are accountable to the citizens, what is the modus operandi of that thinking? Similarly, we connect with the citizens, the common people in Pakistan, and their interpretation of this political concept. How do they define the term? How would they like to receive the public service deliveries, from the government? How would they like the governance decisions to be made in Pakistan? And sort of, try to build bridges between both of the understanding, bridging the difference of understanding of the concept of accountability. That's what we are doing. We are also, building an entire accountability ecosystem in Pakistan by exporting young people to sort of, share their understanding and interpretation of the concepts of governance and accountability and transparency within their communities, and how they can sort of help us further the concept through their creative ideas. Through all of these initiatives, we are trying to strengthen the field here in Pakistan. Pakistan is a big country, and while we are very aware of the kind of governance challenges that Pakistan faces, that our communities faces, it's not always to come up with an idea that would help resolve those challenges. So being a part of a translocal network and having the facility to share our learnings and challenges with Accountability Lab sister organizations around the world, one of the biggest advantages that we can always sort of think through the ideas that they have developed, and similarly they can think through the ideas that we have developed. We get the chance to share our learning, we get the chance to share our successes, we get the chance to discuss the ideas that we are trying to develop, experiment around. For example, from Accountability Lab Pakistan, we have had our unique success of looping the government into the work that we are doing. We are currently working with more than a dozen different government departments, while our sister organizations around the world, they are very good at collecting citizens' feedback, which needs to be incorporated by the public sector organizations. They have been very good at highlighting the need for women's inclusion into the decision-making process. They have been very good at highlighting the stories of integrity by the public officials. So Accountability Lab Pakistan, we have been lucky to sort of have those ready to adopt models, and we have benefited from them, and similarly the sister organizations have benefited from our work of how to sort of more closely liaison and engage the government departments into the work that labs are doing. We have also been very successful in terms of doing the civic education work around various public sector universities, and in, for example, in last 6 or 7 years we have worked with over 30,000 young people, over 2,000 faculty members, millions of common people across various professions and fields of life. We have been able to work with them, and all the sister organizations, through our weekly calls, through our yearly meetups, through our other exchanges of emails and knowledge and communications, we are able to sort of build upon each other's learnings and knowledge. We have created various layers of networks. For example, our finance manager is connected with all the finance managers across all the accountability labs. Our communication teams is connected with all the communication teams across the world at the accountability labs. So are our program teams, so are our learning and monitoring and evaluation teams. So that consistent and constant exchange of ideas and learning that keeps on happening, which sort of shorten the period of our learning and sort of makes our team to always remain at the very steep edge of the learning curve. I think that's one of the biggest benefits. We also sort of very frequently refer each other to potential partners who we are working with in our respective countries, but who would also be equally interested to work with our sister organizations in other countries. We have done this with the Asia Foundation, with the European Union, with various diplomatic offices, embassies, all those kind of things. This is one of the ways through which we sort of the network strengthens each other. Our strategy for next 3 years, it focuses on inclusion, civic agency, digital governance. So Accountability Lab in Pakistan, we are working on all these thematic areas, and one way or the other, at least each one of these thematic areas at heart of our work with the targeted communities. For example, with regard to digital governance, we have just finished helping the Public Accounts Committee in Balochistan to digitize their entire proceedings, and then sort of be the first Public Accounts Committee in Pakistan to begin working in a very digital manner. We are among the accountability labs who have been very actively working with minorities, religious minorities, transgender communities, women and otherwise excluded groups in Pakistan, to sort of have them very closely engaged into the discussion of governance and accountability in Pakistan, political inclusion, and sort of in an indirect manner around resolving various kind of conflicts that they face. Similarly, around climate justice, our work is more towards around distribution of resources and how various government departments, businesses, they are sort of using the resources which are at their disposal to fight the climate change in Pakistan, and what role those departments and the young people here in the country they can play toward that mutually agreed goal. So at Accountability Lab, I think our biggest resource is our human resource. Over the years, we have been able to build a very capable team. We put a very conscious effort to keep them at the lab. For example, we have a very flat structure where, we make it sure that each of the colleague, each of the team member, they are their own bosses. They are themselves responsible for the work that they are doing. We make it sure that we provide a very safe space for the women and minority members of the team. We also ensure that all of the team members, they have enough growth and self-development and professional development opportunities to sort of grow into the fields, into the areas in which they are working. We also ensure that all the team members, they are given market competitive salaries. They are given enough time off so that they can sort of unwind and recover to continue doing the work, very important work that they are doing. We have a very flexible team structure and hours of working. Our team is very connected, very well gelled up with each other. We keep a very constant, consistent checkup on each other. How is everyone doing? If anyone needs anything, the entire team is sort of we work in a very closely knitted family. And we also ensure that all of the team members, they are collectively responsible for the mental health, for the well-being, and for the betterment of the fellow team members.